What's up, guys? Stormy here. I'm here with Sky Avenger to talk about the quote-unquote PS5 release and the leaks that we've heard and theories per se. All right, your turn.
All right. Hi guys. We're just gonna get into the predictions for tomorrow's event, and yeah, let's just get into it. I think when it comes to the price on this console, I don't know if PlayStation is gonna like go for the one up on Xbox and just like make it a whole other $100 compared to the Series X. I mean, if they do that, that would be a pretty like it would be a bold move because when the PS4 released, they made it 400 instead of 500, I believe. And I mean, I could see them taking that way. But like, I don't know if they're going for the smart play or like the money play on this console.
I
What do
think
you think, Stormy?
I think non-disc version is definitely going to be cheaper, possibly, because obviously there's I don't know because I've heard rumors since this entire like debate happened. I heard rumors 3 to 500, but I don't know if that's true. I can't see PlayStation trying to say, hey, we're better than the new Xbox, because spec wise, at least for most people, they're not. So I think what they're gonna do is play ball and try to cater to a cheaper audience. Maybe give like one of the versions like $100 off or whatever. Because if you've noticed the last couple of years, obviously PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox One X, or sorry S, like it's always been price gouging. Even the PlayStation 4 Pro, it's like it's weird, right? They went from like was it 3 to 4 500 model, and then they kind of went down to 200, 300, 400, and we haven't really seen a lot of things that are 500 now. Not that
Yeah,
we ever
yeah.
will.
So it would be like a bold move by PlayStation to just make it like a whole other $100 more for both the digital and the physical edition of the console.
Yeah, and also not to mention that there's supposedly so many accessories. I've heard rumors from everywhere saying like, "Oh, this is gonna be the next big console. This is gonna be huge. This is gonna be crazy." Like, I don't think they're gonna go with an expensive price because they're gonna want people to buy in and then buy other parts to it. If you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and I don't really know it. I'm Sony knows that a lot of people this year aren't exactly in the best time when it comes to money, because like the coronavirus has thrown away everything for most people.
Yep.
People have lost jobs. There's not as much. It's not as safe as it used to be. So I don't know if Sony is taking that into account, and they're just gonna be like, let's just make the price 400 or 450. But I don't know if that would hurt them in the long run, because I'm assuming the production costs for PS5 is like 470, something around that. So if they did make it for 50, they would be losing some money, but they would sell more because people know that it's cheaper, I guess, than Xbox Series X.
Yep. And let's not forget the spec difference. I'm not gonna go into 100% detail because I don't know the entire confirmed specs, but I do know that PlayStation opted for a quicker SSD and basically an entire game changer for games at this point. And let's not to mention Halo's getting delayed, so hey, Xbox won't even
I
be
mean,
starting
yeah,
its exclusives.
that's a bad move on Microsoft, because that was supposed to be a launch game, and they just don't. I mean, I just don't see any big like games on Microsoft's table that they can just come out with.
Other than another Gears of War copy, but I, I don't think that's enough to bring in the audience. I mean, look, man, we're getting Spider-Man Miles Morales. I mean, there's not much Xbox could do. I mean, I think PlayStation 5 sales are gonna start up higher than Xbox, and maybe Xbox slowly gets there. I mean, we all know like the war race that's been going on for the last 2.5 years, if not longer, regarding the COD series, and there's been so many speculations about the Marvel's Avengers PS4 getting its own like exclusive content because obviously it's Spider-Man and Sony blah blah blah. But I feel like at the end of the day, PlayStation is gonna have the better game lineup, especially like within the first 6 months. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. That's what it's looking like.
And clearly, we're not getting a lot of information, which I think is on purpose. Um, Sony executives, please explain. Uh, but I think there's also like a lot in the shadows. Like I've heard rumors about like a new VR system. I've heard rumors like, hey, they might add like a steering wheel. I don't know what that would be for, no idea. But like legitimate
Yeah,
accessories that are actually good from what I've heard. And obviously the new design looks sick. I mean,
yeah. I mean, yeah. People were joking about how it looked like a Wi-Fi router.
it
But I mean,
does. It kind of does.
aside from that, I think the design looks cool. Like it looks next gen.
The controllers look really good too. I mean, you can tell without even holding the controller, it's probably gonna fit in your hand a little better. It's
Yeah,
not that different, but it looks a little different. Like it's weird. Like the buttons kind of look different. Uh, Obviously the color obviously is from what we've seen, but like in general, it looks kind of like a cleaner looking controller. It may not be. It may just be like from the images we've seen. But like I definitely see a lot more positional and like PlayStation's like entire like run game because basically I mean arguably PlayStation 4 even beat out Xbox because of Spider-Man. Um, there's been other games, countless games, but like we might even see like a situation where maybe PlayStation wins the entire year. How do you feel about that?
I mean, right now that's what it's looking like. Cause I just don't see any like no. I'm not trying to give Xbox a doubt, but right now it's just looking like they don't have a big lineup ready. Not sure if that's the case, and they're just waiting to show off their games. But I mean, for right now, release date wise, like they don't really have any launch titles.
hmm And I mean, let's be honest, a lot of people would buy the Xbox console in general just for Halo. Like
Yeah,
that's a big part of the market too.
yeah, and also we have to like take into account that 300 Series S um like that's such a good steal, like especially if you're planning on going like next gen, but you don't want to spend that much. Like that's like the perfect solution. Like it's like the price of a Nintendo Switch.
It's actually cheaper than well, it's a little bit more than a Nintendo Switch. I think the Nintendo Switch is 299. They used or
Yeah,
yeah, so just 300. Yeah, yeah. So you're right. I'm sorry. But I don't know. Maybe that's a like dare I say maybe Xbox has a strategic plan. Maybe they have multiple games that they haven't announced. That's possible.
yeah. I mean, here's the issue. If they have all these games ready, then why not? Why didn't they show them off? Like what I'm getting at is that as a launch console for next gen, like
hmm
it doesn't have a strong lineup. Like I'm not going like, oh, I need to get that
Yeah.
for that specific game. Like there's no Halo, there's no. I mean, I'm pretty hyped for Cyberpunk, but like there's no real like big game like wants. I don't know about you.
Isn't Cyberpunk gonna be on PlayStation though, or no?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
So then that really doesn't count. I mean, there's a lot of great games. I'm personally a PC guy, but I'll probably be getting both at some point because I want to play Halo and I also want to play Spider-Man. So I'm one of those guys. I feel like it has a lot to do with, I don't want to say just company decisions, but like even like in the last like what 3 years, PlayStation has really changed a lot of their marketing ideas, and we can kind of tell because obviously we were getting less information but more information at the end of the year. And I hate to say it, but PlayStation as a company is beating out Xbox badly right now. I mean, like you were saying with the whole Xbox debacle and the Halo debacle, like the price, like all these things, like yeah, COVID really screwed up everything for everybody, but like it's kind of changing like the market. It could even change the scheme, like what could we be looking at? I mean, PlayStation keeps saying online stores, you know, with the no disc version. What if that's like the smartest decision here?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, I personally, I'm more of like a physical copy guy. Like, I like having the box, but I can, something I can say for sure is that both Sony and Microsoft want are pushing towards a more digital environment where I think in like 10 years from now we'll only see digital version only consoles because like sadly physical media is just dying.
Honestly, I think it'll be quicker. I think it'll be like more in the next 3 to 4 years, if I'm being honest. Because if you think about it, um, didn't they come up with like a statement saying how many sales they got online versus in store? Wasn't it like
Yeah, I
crazy?
saw that. I don't know the exact numbers,
It was
but
crazy though.
yeah,
Over 50%, I'm pretty sure.
I mean there's it's sort of like it's inevitable at this point to push and strive for physical consoles because it's just not a thing anymore. Like it's all going digital.
How do you feel about the controller comparison between Xbox and PlayStation?
Um,
In general, it doesn't
the
have to just be about the
controller,
new one.
yeah. The PS5 controller looks nice and like smooth, but I have to try it because
Hmm.
I mean Xbox controller looks pretty much the same. Like there's no real difference.
Hmm.
And I mean, for the most part, Xbox controllers are pretty like they're comfy. Like I don't have an issue with them.
Which one do you prefer more?
Like just by looking at it, um, I would say the PS5 controller.
Yeah.
It just stands out a little more because of the colors they use and like the design of it. But who knows? I mean, the Xbox controller could end up being better than PlayStation's.
How do you feel about like PS4 and Xbox One game libraries? Like, do you think that's going to be a similar situation now, or do you think PS4 is going to completely blow Xbox's game lineup entirely out of the water?
I mean, right now that's what it looks like, but who knows? I mean, Xbox could just be holding a stash of first party games and they're just waiting to show them off.
Yeah,
But
that's like,
definitely like considering launch right now it's not looking good.
yeah.
Although the prices of 500 for the Series X and 300 for the Series S are really great prices. Like you're not getting any exclusive big titles at launch. So it would be a good minute before anything huge came out.
Do you think Xbox might pull back their release date in the end and kind of make it until Halo comes out, or do you think that's a bad idea?
I think that's a bad idea because like this literally I think was trending on Twitter for like that whole day that it got on September 9th when they showed it off. So it would just look like a bad move for them to just delay the console as a whole.
Do you think like game wise, like even if we got like a couple of good exclusives for Xbox, do you think that's enough to pull people over, or do you think PS4 is just gonna win? Or PS5, my bad.
Um, right now I'm leaning towards PS5,
Hmm.
but if if Xbox just came out with like a third party like time exclusive, that would be a smart move by them, being they don't really have any huge titles right now.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I'm leaning towards more PS5. What about you?
Well, I kind of have a theory in a way to go along with this. Obviously, with all the rumors and leaks that have been coming out off and on, obviously within the last 6 weeks and closer to now. But I have a theory that Xbox might plan to make their first ever console release in the summer. It sounds really far-fetched, but it would make a lot more sense, like business-wise. I know it would kind of kill the sales and not the whole Christmas thing, but the only thing that I can think for Xbox is they don't really have a way to save themselves. You know what I mean? Like, there's literally no way to save like anything about that. Like, they're already losing people for Christmas because most people want it. Let's be honest, most people wanted the Xbox for Halo. I mean,
Yeah,
and let's be honest, a lot of the Xbox fan base are Halo fans. Um, but I feel like it's kind of like not, I guess, not smart to go the way that they're doing, because obviously, there's going to be a lot of differences within the fan bases, and obviously, one might gain out the other. But I think, like, strategically, Xbox is going to have to make a very crazy decision. Now, whether that be, coming out with a game out of nothing, or maybe just delaying. I don't know what they're gonna do. That just looks bad all around. And I mean, I'm rooting for PlayStation
yeah,
because that's kind of what I grew up with more. Um, but I mean, obviously I was an Xbox person too. But I just think PlayStation is the stronger console in general.
yeah. Oh, I'm gonna join the call back. I don't know what happened, but like, I can't. I hear you.
Okay, I'll just edit that out.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, I'll just edit it out. That's cool. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, I don't really think there's going to be like a way to fix that. I mean, you have anything else really on that at all?
Not really. I mean, like right now we just know Xbox Series X 500, Xbox Series S 299, release date November 10th, and then pre-orders are next week, I believe, on the 22nd. So if PlayStation tomorrow's event just drops like, oh, release or our pre-orders start like a day before or a day after, like that's such a competitive move, and I don't know if that would scare Microsoft. What do you think?
I mean, honestly, I think PlayStation's the better console. I think Sony's the better company in terms of games. I'm not gonna get into the reasons why I think that. More or less because Microsoft has just kind of been a big blab the last 2 years. But I kind of feel like, in a way, if Xbox like potentially could get their shit together and actually like put this like kind of like in a fixing light at least, like maybe release a game or maybe like say, oh, Halo's coming out here, quicker. I feel like maybe it would be able to recover, but in no way do I think it's gonna beat PlayStation now. I mean, PlayStation's in such a big league. I mean, there's like an entirely different league difference at this point. Like PlayStation already
Yeah,
has
for
Ratchet and
sure.
Clank, Spider-Man. Like I'm pretty sure there's more titles that I don't even remember. Obviously we don't know a lot yet, but like, oh, it's gonna be crazy. And I'm not even a console fan, and I've seen the specs. I mean, the specs on these things, like, they're at least low PC level. I mean, and that's coming from a PC enthusiast. Like, I love building my own PC. I love my PC that I have currently. So, like, I'm all into that. So I can say safely that the specs on these things are really good compared to, you know, past years. And some
Yeah.
aspects, not every aspect.
Now, I have a question for you. So the release date on the Xbox Series, well, both of them, is November 10th.
Mm.
Do you think PlayStation will release theirs a day, I mean a week later or a week before?
Honestly, I think it all depends on what Sony wants. I think Sony's going to be aggressive and do it a week before, but I mean, they could screw over Microsoft and do it the same day. Like, that's always an option.
I don't, that would just be so like the biggest what?
I mean, think about it. You ruin someone's buying plans already. Why not just blow them out of the water and make people choose?
I mean, Sony isn't exactly like the dirty game. I don't think they would do that. If they did, that would be pretty like bold of them. And it kind of would be like, yeah, get out of our way, Microsoft.
But I think that's kind of what they're doing already, unintentionally. I mean, yeah, you've got the difference in the interfaces, you've got the backwards compatibility, like, but I feel like Xbox could make a comeback with their backwards compatibility. I've heard that it's going to go all the way back to the first Xbox. I don't know if that's true, but you know, PS.
I mean, as far as I've seen, I think that is true.
So that'll
And
get older people for sure.
yeah, and also like I guess a negative point about the PS5 is that it looks like their backwards compatibility is only gonna go up to the PS4.
And that's only certain
So
games.
yeah, so that's kind of like a negative aspect of PS5.
And then we have a lot to worry about in terms of like the potential for each company because, I mean, uh, did you hear about the EA thing with dual entitlement?
I think so. I did. I something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, if you own like their FIFA, Madden, or whatever on PS4, you can get a free PS5 upgrade for the title. The only catch is you can't upgrade PS4 disc purchase if you plan on buying the PS5 Deluxe Edition.
Oh, okay.
So that's
I
kind
think.
of good.
Yeah. I think wasn't Square Enix doing that also with like Marvel's Avengers? Like
I think so. It says it also seems a
also like
variety. Cyberpunk,
I
Marvel's
think also
Avengers. Yeah.
yeah, Cyberpunk I think also is doing that. I mean it could be. Well, going back to the PlayStation 5 event tomorrow, wanna talk about game predictions? Things
Sure.
that could go on. So, do you think like what for sure games do you think we'll see?
Obviously Spider-Man. I'm almost 100% certain of that. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind. Um, I don't
Okay.
know about sports games. I, obviously Ratchet and Clank. I don't think we'll see gameplay though. Um,
Yeah. I wonder if they'll give us some release date on that. I wonder if they're gonna do a launch, if that will be a launch game. Because if that were the case, I am assuming they would just drop that tomorrow.
yeah, I mean we already know Battlefield 6 is coming out in 2021, so we probably won't see anything on that. We know that the next Black Ops is supposedly coming out on November 13th this year.
Okay, so now some games that we could see tomorrow. I think Sony is gonna go all out, and like the final game they'll show, or I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming they would just that would just be the final reveal.
Hmm.
I'm They're gonna just give us God of War 2. I
Yep.
mean, if they do that, I don't know if that would be just a little teaser trailer or just like the title, but that would be like that would just steal the show, I think. What do you think?
I mean, yeah. I mean, like I said, PlayStation's just got so many good games that they've had in the past, exclusives and new games in general, that I just think they're gonna blow Xbox out of the water. I don't think it's a competition anymore, honestly.
Um, Now, um, I saw that there's like rumors that Sony has gotten a lot of third-party deals for like games or just timed exclusives. So maybe what if it what if at this event we see that le leaked Harry Potter game that was shown, like we saw some footage of it. What do you think about that?
That'd be cool. I mean, it would definitely be another thing to kind of say, haha, we have this over you, Xbox, ha 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 ha, you know. But
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Harry Potter is like one of the biggest franchises ever. So if they were to just drop that and say like you can play it on PlayStation 5 like 5 months before Xbox, that would be like yeah, that would be a big plus for PlayStation.
any other major thoughts or ideas?
Um Another game that would also be sort of like dropping the mic would be a new Metal Gear game.
Hmm.
I mean, it's been a good minute since we've seen any new game in that franchise. And if they bring in Kojima, that would be pretty huge. I don't know if that would be like a remake of like or like a collection or a whole new game, but with the PS5 like next gen, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, and I mean, there's just so, like I've been saying, there's so many PS4 going into PS5s that have sequels that are supposed to be. There's so many good games that were exclusives. I mean, there's just a lot on the table for PlayStation in general, and I think they played their cards right pretty well. I do think the best seller game on PS5 will be Spider-Man, though. No doubt about that.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if this is true at all, but apparently Miles Morales is also gonna include the first game for the PlayStation 4, like included. So if that's the case, that's like a two-in-one deal, because especially if they up the first Spider-Man PS4 game with PS5 visuals, that would be pretty, like, that would be a nice buy.
Yeah, and I think it'll probably change the entire market too. I mean, that's crazy. Two games on one that basically have the same story but added on, and it's like a secondary story. That'll be really cool. I mean, in general.
Yeah. So hopefully we see some gameplay or a new trailer and we get to learn the story for that game tomorrow. But if we don't see that there, I don't know. I hope it doesn't get delayed or anything.
Same here. I'm hoping we kind of get everything on time. I mean, Xbox has already proven to us 3 times that we're not gonna get their stuff on time. Hopefully, PlayStation does.
Yep. Um, I don't. What do you think about Gotham Knights? I don't think it will be here because they just showed some footage for it.
So you don't think it'll be good? Is that what you're saying?
No, no, I don't think we'll see anything from it at this event.
Oh, possibly. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. If Gotham Knight is in that thing tomorrow, yeah, it's gonna kill Xbox. Like,
Yeah,
just
I mean, especially if Disney made a third party deal or like yeah, deal with Warner Brothers and they're just like, "Oh, you can play Gotham Knights a whole year or like a couple of months before you get it on Xbox." That would just be like
you mean
that would
DC?
just like destroy Xbox.
Yeah. When you said Disney, do you mean DC? Because Gotham Knights is a DC property.
Yeah. Wait, did I say Disney?
Yes.
Oh,
It's fine.
never mind. Yeah.
Any other major ideas or points that you want to bring in?
Um, no, I think that's all. Oh wait, hold on one thing. Um, do you see any big PS like classic PlayStation game like making a return on the PS5? Like Sly Cooper or Jack and Daxter, something like that.
To be honest, I don't know. I'm not really a classic person, so I wouldn't be the person to ask. But I do think there's a lot of room for old new games that are being remade and or remastered. I definitely do think that's a possibility. It would definitely add to the reasoning of maybe why PlayStation is again gonna win this console war for this year and probably even next year. But
Yep.
I don't know. I feel like it would be strategically smart if they did more, like, coming back, hey, we're back, hey, we're making a new game, or hey, we're remastering or whatever. But I don't know. I don't know 100% on that.
I mean, what I would do if I were Sony is just sort of like how they did with the Crash Bandicoot and Spyro. They should do a remaster or remake of the classic games, like and then so they introduce new audiences because a lot of people, I mean, like from this age, they might not be familiar with those titles.
Yeah. And of course, we're gonna have to, you know, again, like I've been saying with PlayStation versus Xbox, we're gonna also have to figure out what Xbox may or may not have in store, which I don't think is that much. So I don't think Xbox is really gonna be that much of a threat unless they come out of the water for something huge that we've just never seen before. Cough
Yeah.
cough an entire Halo remaster series. Yeah.
That would be, I mean, that would be pretty good for Xbox, but right now it's just way too late to show that if they did have that.
I mean, yeah. Of course, we have all these like ideas and things, theories floating around. Like, I just don't think Xbox's call to arms per se with their specs is gonna be enough to hold them. Any other ideas, thoughts, or concerns?
Yeah, I mean, like to wrap up, yeah, I mean, at least in my eyes, Xbox isn't gonna win this holiday or like launch year. I could be wrong about that, but I mean Spider-Man is one of the best selling PlayStation games and he's like one of the most popular characters of all time. So like that's just a win for Sony.
Yeah. Hopefully, the Batman game that's rumored to come out isn't Xbox exclusive. I doubt it will be, but could be. Doubt it though.
I'm that's if they do that, that's sort of like yeah, like oh take that PlayStation.
Yeah, but I mean, then again, most people who like Marvel, generally stick with PlayStation. I've heard because of a lot of the Marvel games were exclusive in the last year
Yeah.
and continuing to be for the most part. Obviously, Avengers gonna be everywhere, but they still have exclusive content for PS4 or in PS5. Yeah. Um,
Also another game that could be a sort of PlayStation timed exclusive could be Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I can see that too.
Yeah, that's a pretty big franchise as a whole. So if they show that off tomorrow, I think that would be another plus.
Anything
But
else?
yeah, I mean, I'm just hyped to see what they have in store tomorrow.
Anything else?
No,